Exclusive contract from Feilu Novel Network Novel. Industrial investigation. Do you want my toy factory to make Gundam? Yuan Hao, with his incredible insight into black technology, was reborn at the age of 18 and took over his own toy factory, which was on the brink of bankruptcy. Coincidentally, the development of Longguo's fifth-generation stealth fighter was hindered, and industrial exploration began. As a result, Yuan Hao's toy factory was portrayed as a military giant and a national heavy equipment enterprise. T-1000 carbon fiber, is it produced here by you? Invisible paint, is it yours too? How could your drone have a range of 8,000 kilometers? I heard that there are thousands of aircraft carriers blocking cables in your warehouse. With your Seagate technology, you should be able to create Gundam, right? No, just catch a sheep and pluck its fur. Do you still want my toy factory to make Gundam? Do you still want us to contract the South Tianmen plan? Is there a Star Wars plan? Okay. All for you. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Rebirth at 18 years old, Overcoming Enlightenment. Seeking Flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dad. Our factory. Can't sell it. Yuan Hao reached out and stopped his father Yuan Dang. This is an office. Yuan Dang, the director of Seagate Toy Factory, took a hard puff on his cigarette. I don't know which one this is. The room is already shrouded in smoke. Seagate Toy Factory. On the brink of bankruptcy. Yuan Hao's heart was filled with mixed emotions. He has been reborn through time travel. It's not about crossing into another world. But it's about traveling back to when I was 18 years old. In my own toy factory, I can't repay my debts. On the brink of bankruptcy. At the moment of being acquired. What happened next left a deep impression on Yuan Hao. Yuan Dang sold his own toy factory. Holding 3,000 W in cash, continuing to start a business. In the end, bad luck and entrepreneurial failure. Even a few houses and villas at home were lost. This has caused the Yuan family, which originally had assets of over 100 million, to fall into decline. Yuan Hao is a second-generation wealthy young man who has just been admitted to a key 985 university and is preparing to fully enjoy his golden years. But in just 6 months, I fell from the clouds to hell. My family's assets are depleted. Father Yuan Dang drinks excessively all day long. My mother was originally a full-time housewife, unable to support a family in dire straits. Yuan Dang, who was also tired of dealing with alcoholism, was tormented to the point of neurasthenia. Various contradictions have intensified. Parents can only end up with divorce in the end. And Yuan Hao took care of his parents. I also have to drop out of school. In the next decade or so, life will be full of setbacks. I am exhausted from running around all day just to break a few taels of silver. In the end, I was too tired because I had worked several jobs. When crossing the road. Sent back to the present by a speeding truck. In the previous life. It can be said that family is ruined and people are ruined. Yuan Hao's eyes were very complicated. Looking at Yuan Dang, who frowned tightly and sucked on his cigarette, but one by one, he firmly said again. Toy factories cannot sell. In my previous life, it was because I sold a toy factory and realized it. The Yuan family has plummeted. In the end, it became a ruined family. In this lifetime, Yuan Hao cannot repeat the same mistakes. The most important thing is, he has confidence to regroup and develop the family business again. Because not only did he come back. And there's also a trump card. Black tech savvy. As long as you watch various materials, you can understand more complete and advanced technology. Wisdom goes against the sky. With this cheat, Yuan Hao naturally has confidence to develop and grow his own toy factory. Make up for the regrets of the previous life. So we must firmly prevent Yuan Dang from selling the toy factory. There are already more than 10 cigarette butts in the ashtray at the corner of the boss's desk. Yuan Dang's voice was hoarse, with his hands covering his temples and his fingers inserted into his messy hair. I don't want to sell the factory either. But in recent years, the efficiency of toy factories has plummeted by a cliff. In the past few months, the funding chain has been broken. What else can we do if we don't sell the factory, even though we owe our employees salaries for several months? Yuan Dang is also at a loss. After thinking for a moment, Yuan Hao gritted his teeth and said, "Dad. If you really need cash, sell me the toy factory. I'll get you 10 million. Then the toy factory will be handed over to me for operation, you don't have to worry." Yuan Dang extinguished his cigarette butt and laughed loudly. "Aren't you teasing me, kid? Just rely on you, where are you going to get 10 million? Okay. If the factory sells it to someone else, it will cost 30 million. Son, if you want it, just give me 10 million. Yuan Dang thought Yuan Hao was joking. After all, Yuan Hao is only 18 years old and has just finished the college entrance examination before going to college in 2 months. Where did he get 10 million? Usually, it's me who works as an old man, giving Yuan Hao money to spend. Yuan Dang thought that Yuan Hao was reluctant to part with the toy factory. Just make a fuss and it's over. 1 day later, Yuan Hao transferred 10 million yuan into Yuan Dang's account. "Dad, from today on, Seagate Toy Factory will be mine." Yuan Hao pushed Yuan Dang away from his position as chairman and sat down on his own. Yuan Dang looked at the bank account balance. Stunned. The manager of the toy factory, Gao Shichuan, was also stunned. "Master Yuan, are you really playing?" Yuan Hao waved his hand. "Don't call me Mr. Yuan, from today on, I will be the factory director." Gao Shichuan followed suit and handed a stack of materials to Yuan Hao. "Director Yuan." Yuan Dang was confused and scolded with a smile. "Old Gao, you bastard, will you change your tune now?" The chubby and slightly short central group of high-ranking scholars shrugged. "There's no way, old factory director. The salary that hasn't been paid for 3 months is all paid by factory director Yuan. You can only be an old factory director." Yuan Dang raised his hand and surrendered. "Get it? Yuan Hao, if you're willing to mess around, just mess around. With this 10 million, I'll start another business. The toy industry is giving up. Whoever is willing to do it will do it." Yuan Dang turned around and left, not because he had a big heart. But now the toy factory's accounts are full of holes, owing millions of foreign debts. No matter how much Yuan Hao tinkered with it, it couldn't have been worse. The employees in the tumultuous factory have all fled. "I can't go on anymore. Just come back and tidy up the mess yourself. Finally, we have to sell the factory." Yuan Hao took office and didn't even stay in the office for a second. The next place to arrive is the R&D room of the toy factory. It is said to be a research and development room, but in fact, there are only 5 or 6 people in total. It's not that Yuan Hao is a workaholic, but that he is also under a lot of pressure. Black tech savvy. The cheat is actually very good. But there's no beginner gift package. Unlike other reincarnated protagonists, who give money and production lines at the beginning with a ding sound, Yuan Hao has nothing. That 10 million is actually borrowed. It can be considered as risking this old face. He can't wait now and wants to use his black technology savvy. Create some valuable achievements and quickly turn losses into profits. Research and Development Room. A middle-aged man in his 50s, wearing a checkered shirt, a big back, and golden glasses, warmly shook hands. As the saying goes, tiger father has no dog son. Fortunately, the old factory manager has a good son like you. The future of Seagate Toy Factory depends on you, Director Yuan. Yuan Hao was momentarily stunned upon hearing this. Uncle Dai, it's been so many years since I found out that you flatter so much. What about the information and drawings related to fiberglass materials in our factory? Dai Jicheng, the director of the R&D department, handed over a large stack of materials to Yuan Hao. It's all here. Yuan Hao immediately started reading. You watch the research and development materials of glass fiber composite materials and understand T300 carbon fiber technology. You continue to watch the research and development materials of glass fiber composite materials and understand the T800 carbon fiber technology. You are still watching research and development materials on glass fiber composite materials, realizing T1100 carbon fiber technology. Yuan Hao is numb. The new book sets sail, seeking flowers, tickets, and collections. Chapter 2. Longguo developing the 5th generation machine. Don't dream anymore. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Rongcheng. Rongfei Research and Design Institute. Today, experts and scholars from various research institutions across the country are gathered together. Among them are academicians of the Longguo Academy of Sciences. There are also research leaders from various higher education institutions. Let's gather together and brainstorm. Prepare to address some of the issues encountered during the development process of the 5th generation stealth fighter of the Dragon Country. Just as experts and professors greet each other. In a quiet office. There is a middle-aged man wearing a formal military uniform with a star hanging on his shoulder. This person has a Chinese-style face, thick eyebrows and big eyes, with a majestic aura that does not anger or intimidate oneself. It is the Air Force, led by Major General Qin Yuejin, who is responsible for the development of the 5th generation stealth fighter. Qin Yuejin grabbed the landline on the table and connected a cross-border number. This is an opportunity that various departments have finally won. The posture of Qin Yuejin was very low. Hello. Hello. May I ask if you are the head of the Cherry Blossom Country Dongli Group's little dog? My surname is Qin, representing a machinery company in Longguo, and I would like to import a large amount of high-strength carbon fiber materials from your company. Minister Xiaogo, could you please quote a price? Puzzy. Before Qin Yuejin could finish speaking, the little dog minister on the other end of the phone burst out laughing. His voice was filled with arrogance and disdain. Qin sang, don't pretend anymore. In fact, personnel from the Bald Eagle side have already approached me. The powerful White-Headed Eagle Intelligence Organization has investigated all of you thoroughly. Qin sang, you are not a civilian machinery company, but a representative of the Dragon Kingdom military. You want to import high-strength carbon fiber, but it's not for civilian use. Do you want to develop a 5th generation fighter jet? Ha ha ha. I'm really laughing to death. Don't dream anymore. Relying solely on your Longguo's technology, do you still want to develop a 5th generation machine? To be honest, even if Dongli exports high-strength carbon fiber to you, I don't think you can successfully develop the 5th generation machine. Give you 50 years, it won't work. Listening to the sarcastic remarks on the phone, Qin Yuejin's face turned pale. Minister Little Dog is still chattering incessantly. Moreover, we simply cannot export high-strength carbon fiber to you. Not to mention military use, even for civilian use, we won't give you the Dragon Kingdom. You guys die with this heart. Also, I kindly advise you, Dragon Kingdom. Don't always think about confronting the powerful Bald Eagle. It is impossible to defeat the Bald Eagle just by relying on your poor and backward Dragon Country. I think you can change your mindset. For example, to show submission to the Bald Eagle, say more kind words, and be an obedient little brother. Perhaps when the Bald Eagle is in a good mood, they will allow us to export some high-strength carbon fiber to you. Ha ha ha. The little dog laughed playfully again. Qin Yuejin said coldly. Minister Little Dog, I don't know what's wrong with you. Didn't you realize that it's not beneficial for your Sakura country to lick the bald eagle as their father? For example, if your Dongli group is willing to export carbon fiber to us, it is you who will make money. Now that they have heard the bald eagle's lies, they have not suffered any losses. But don't you just have no money to make? I can't figure it out, you cherry blossom people's weird brain circuits. Minister Xiaogo didn't expect that Qin Yuejin would dare to mock him back. Immediately rebuked. Garbage Dragon Country sick man. Don't try to provoke the great friendship between our Sakura country and the White Eagles. Without carbon fiber, your 5th-generation machine development is destined to be a dead end. Even if you kneel down and beg me, you won't get our Dongli products now. Pop. The little dog hung up the phone. Qin Yuejin's face was quite ugly. Being able to establish contact with Minister Dongli's little dog is a great cost for the covert front. Unexpectedly, the bald eagle secretly blocked Dongli's export to the Dragon Kingdom. Pretending to be a private machinery company, but also being exposed. Another challenge has been added regarding the research and development of the 5th-generation machine. Qin Yuejin joined the conference room with a gloomy face. I informed the experts and scholars present about this bad news. Yang Wei, the chief designer of the 5th-generation stealth fighter, frowned and sighed. The high-strength carbon fiber composite materials required for the 5th-generation aircraft are currently only available for production in Baitu Eagle and Sakura country. The bald eagle doesn't need to think about it anymore. It seems that Dongli group from Sakura country will not export to us anymore. If it weren't for T300 grade carbon fiber, we wouldn't even be able to make the body of the 5th-generation aircraft. The F-22 of the white-headed eagle uses T300 grade carbon fiber. Yang Wei's words immediately silenced the venue. The atmosphere on site is very oppressive. I don't know what to do. Major General Qin Yuejin suddenly slammed the table heavily. Can living people still suffocate their urine? The bald eagle and cherry blossom country on Dog Day look down on us so much. Whatever we say, we have to make the 5th-generation machine. As for high-strength carbon fiber composite materials. Son, how long do you think we can produce T300 performance carbon fiber through independent research and development? Sun Yunzhang, Sun Lao, is a highly respected scholar at the School of Materials Science, Longguo Academy of Sciences. Facing Qin Yuejin's earnest gaze, Sun Lao smiled bitterly and shook his head. The progress of materials science is a gradual process. Xiao Qin, I really dare not guarantee you. It can only be said that the materials laboratory of the Chinese Academy of Sciences is mobilizing all forces to carry out the battle. In the laboratory, T300 performance carbon fibers can already be manufactured. But if you want mass production. Sun Yunzhang didn't finish speaking, but the meaning was already very clear. The entire conference room was filled with pessimistic emotions. The new book set sail, seeking flowers, tickets, and collections. Chapter 3. Industrial Upgrading. Brother, please sing and touch it a little. You are listening at novelfull.audio. View technical information on fiberglass from toy factories. Understood the technology of carbon fiber composite materials. Yuan Hao's mind is buzzing with melon seeds. Black tech savvy truly lives up to its reputation. Yuan Hao's mind is now filled with the production technology of high-strength carbon fiber materials. Uncle Dai, can a fiberglass machine tool production line be used to produce carbon fiber? Yuan Hao's mind is about the complete process of carbon fiber technology. The entire production process, from the formula to the machines on the assembly line, is known. But I don't know about the assembly line of my own toy factory producing fiberglass. Dai Jiqing thought for a moment and said. Although carbon fiber is high-end, its production process is actually similar to glass fiber. However, carbon fiber requires pre-impregnated material, which requires the use of a hot press tank. Yuan Hao nodded and asked, "How much does it cost to transform our fiberglass production line into a carbon fiber production line?" "The hot pressing tank costs 3 to 500,000 yuan, plus other process adjustments. It's probably over 1 million yuan. But can we use the tall and high-end material of carbon fiber in our toy factory? Ordinary toy remote-controlled cars, small airplanes, and low-end drones are all made of fiberglass material. Over 1 million. Yuan Hao waved his hand. Upgrade. Start upgrading the production line immediately. Strive to upgrade the entire assembly line within 3 days. Next, let's produce high-strength carbon fiber materials. Dai Jicheng was somewhat surprised and rubbed his hands to persuade him. Upgrading the production line is really unnecessary. Ordinary electric toy cars, remote-controlled small airplanes, don't need high-end things like carbon fiber. Yuan Hao, you haven't been exposed to the toy industry, so you may not understand. The quality of toys is certainly related to the materials, but the most important factors are IP, copyright, and so on. Even if we use carbon fiber to make Gundam models, we won't be able to sell at a high price. The expensive one is still the genuine Sakura country 10,000 bags. This is a case of wasting money. Dai Jicheng has been working at Seagate toy factory for almost 20 years, and of course, he doesn't want the factory to go bankrupt. Yuan Hao smiled. I remember when our factory built this fiberglass production line, it wasn't just for our own use, was it? Fiberglass materials will also be sold to other manufacturers. After upgrading the production line, high-strength carbon fibers can be produced. The sales of this thing are much better than fiberglass, right? Dai Jicheng spread his hands and said with a bitter smile. You're all right. The problem is producing carbon fiber. It's not just about having a production line. The most crucial thing is the process and formula. These things are all top secret, we don't have them. Yuan Hao smiled mysteriously. You don't have to worry about the craftsmanship and formula, Uncle Dai. You just need to set up the lathe assembly line. 3 days later. Seagate Toy Factory's fiberglass assembly line has been upgraded to a carbon fiber assembly line. Many devices are ready-made and naturally easy to assemble. However, some of the devices are already quite outdated. Yuan Hao took a look and found that the maximum production capacity is T300 and T800 carbon fibers. Even the yield of T800 carbon fiber is not high. It cannot produce T1100 performance level. But it's also enough. Yuan Hao handed over the process and formula of T300 and T800 carbon fibers to Dai Jicheng. The process flow is all here. Let's start production. Dai Jicheng read the materials and gradually, his mouth opened in an O shape in shock. Yuan Hao didn't care about these. When the carbon fiber material truly came out of the production line, I couldn't wait to take some samples. The production of something is not considered successful. We need to sell it. Uncle Gao, what are the merchants who have cooperated with Seagate? They used to accept our fiberglass materials. Yuan Hao asked the general manager of the factory, Gao Shichuan. Gao Shichuan lifted his glasses on the bridge of his nose. The one with the most fiberglass for us is a fishing gear factory called Guangwei Fishing Gear. Their previous low-end fishing rods used our materials. Yuan Hao personally went to Guangwei Fishing Gear with samples of materials produced by Seagate. As one of the important suppliers, Chairman Chen Chu of Guangwei personally received Yuan Hao. I heard that Yuan Hao wants to supply high-strength carbon fiber, and Chen Chu shook his head. Brother Yuan, It's not that my brother looks down on domestic products, but rather something like high-strength carbon fiber, which we really don't have in China. Our high-end fishing rods from Guangwei require carbon cloth imported from Sakura Godongli Group. Brother Yuan, don't be joking. It is only right that Chen Chu does not believe it. Yuan Hao is not talking nonsense, and the old god is saying. Our product has the same specifications as Dongli's. In terms of price, it's only a quarter of Dongli's. Brother Chen, you don't have to refuse at all. Ask your quality inspection department to test the samples I brought, without affecting our performance. Our venue tonight is not over yet, the quality inspection department can give you the results. Chen Chu thought to himself, that's really what happened. Let Guangwei's quality inspection department test the samples brought by Yuan Hao. About an hour later. The princess sister couldn't bear Yuan Hao's handsome face and pressed it against her body, saying, "Brother, let's not just sing, just touch a few." At this moment, the staff of the quality inspection department hurriedly entered the private room and whispered in Chen Chu's ear. Chen Chu's eyes gradually lit up. The waist, which was stuck in the sofa, straightened up and eagerly poured a glass of wine for Yuan Hao. "Mr. Yuan. What you just said is that the price of your supply, under the same quality situation, is a quarter of Dongli's. You can't go back on your word. The new book set sail, Seeking Flowers, Tickets, and Collections." Chapter 4. Seagate has mass-produced T1100 carbon fiber. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Yuan Hao has been too busy lately to touch his feet. Painful and happy. Although very busy, I have also gained a lot in this month. Firstly, a supply contract for carbon fiber composite materials was signed with Guangwei. Seagate needs as much goods as Guangwei needs. The production line operates directly at full capacity, reaching full capacity. However, there is only a small production line in the toy factory. Running day and night, T300 performance carbon fiber can produce about 30 tons per month. Due to outdated production lines, the yield rate of T800 carbon fiber is very low. There is only about 1 ton per month. Yuan Hao sold to Guangwei at a fair price. T300 carbon fiber, imported from Dongli to China, with a unit price exceeding 1,000 yuan per kilogram. On Yuan Hao's side, quote 300 per kilogram. T800 carbon fiber, with an import unit price of over 10,000 yuan per kilogram. Yuan Hao directly quoted 3,000 per kilogram. It's really like the price hit a bone fracture. Give a quarter of the price to Guangwei. According to production capacity calculations, this carbon fiber composite material production line alone can provide a gross profit of 12 million yuan per month. Chen Chu from Guangwei is not bad either. I know that Seagate Toy Factory is facing difficulties here. Just send me the payment for 1 month's worth of goods first. With this 12 million, Yuan Hao breathed a great sigh of relief. It is impossible to repay a debt. Why pay off the debt first when you owe money based on your abilities? Only 2 million emergency measures were left. For example, employee salaries, as well as bank loan interest and so on. The remaining 1,000 W will be invested again in upgrading the production line. The production line in the factory is a fiberglass production line that was forcibly upgraded by patchwork. The production capacity is very low. It is also impossible to produce carbon fiber composite materials with T1100 performance. Yuan Hao is very dissatisfied. Immediately called in the R&D director, Dai Jicheng. Uncle Dai, there are 10 million here. I am planning to start another large-scale carbon fiber production line. Uncle Dai, you provide technical guidance and work with the director of the procurement department to try to buy the entire production line back within 2 weeks. Dai Jicheng shook his head repeatedly and waved his hand, saying, "Impossible. Absolutely impossible. How could it be possible to build a brand new production line in 2 weeks' time? There are many lathes and mechanical equipment that need to be imported." Yuan Hao directly handed over a list. According to the equipment on the list, they are all domestically produced. If the manufacturer can deliver in a timely manner, they can increase the price appropriately. Dai Jiqing helped his glasses, looked at the list, and suddenly shut up. He now feels that Yuan Hao is even more professional in composite material production lines than himself. 2 weeks later. Seagate Toy Factory has built a brand new production line for carbon fiber composite materials. Not only has the production capacity significantly increased, and also have the ability to produce high-strength composite materials with T1100 performance. Chen Chu, the CEO of Guanwei, came just by smelling the flavor. Chen Chu's Maybach S.Class drove directly into the Seagate factory area. Seagate Toy Factory. Located outside the 6th Ring Road of the capital city. Actually, it is the boundary of Hebei province. The factory covers a huge area. It is precisely because of this huge factory area. After Yuan Deng sold Seagate, after deducting the debts of all parties and bank debts, there is still 3,000 W left. But it also made it convenient for Yuan Hao. Next to the old factory building, several steel structure factories have already started construction. After a brand new production line of carbon fiber composite materials was installed in the old factory, the space was already tight. For future development, Yuan Hao plans to build several more large factories. Nowadays, the first batch of T1100 high-strength carbon fiber materials has not been produced yet. Chen Chu, the CEO of Guanwei, personally visited the company. People are accompanied by big waves and small secretaries who are inseparable. Knock on the door of Yuan Hao's office. As soon as we met, we burst into laughter and gave Yuan Hao a big hug. Brother Yuan, I heard that your factory has launched a new production line. Can carbon fibers with T1100 performance be produced? Quick, fast. Show me, brother. Chen Xiuqiao's hopeful gaze was even stronger than when the young model of the club was young. Accompanying them are also quality inspection engineers from Guanwei. Hurriedly entered the Seagate R&D laboratory. In the previous research and development laboratory, Dai Jiqing lay flat with a few graduate students and had nothing to do every day. After all, the toy industry does not require such high-end raw materials. As long as the normal operation of the production line can be ensured, producing fiberglass will be in good luck. Now it's completely different. The R&D laboratory has added many new equipment. Dai Jiqing has regained his passion for scientific research when he was young. Utilize various devices to showcase the superior performance of T1100 carbon fiber to Guanwei engineers. Engineer Guanwei's eyes were filled with tears of excitement. Dai Gong. You don't know, it's the first time I've seen carbon fiber composite materials with performance surpassing Dongli in our country. Sakura little devil, you're too arrogant and arrogant. Their technicians, when they come to Guanwei for after-sales service, wish their nostrils were raised to the sky. Let's go special from today on. We definitely don't need Sakura Dongli's products anymore. Not only this engineer. Even Chen Chu was stunned by the performance of T1100 carbon fiber in the material report. Is it really the T1100 specification? This is amazing. I heard that Cherry Blossom Dongli is now producing T800 performance carbon fiber for energy production. The T1000 specification is only available in the laboratory. Can we actually mass produce on our end? Chen Chu was excited and pretended to kiss Yuan Hao. Fortunately, Yuan Hao saw the opportunity early and quickly took a step back. Chen Tsui couldn't hold on to her and could only give a smack, kissing the little secretary next to her. Hey! My luxury fishing rod brand is saved. I only dare to sell T800 carbon fiber fishing rods for a few thousand yuan. If we use T1100 carbon fiber to produce fishing rods, I dare to sell them for tens of thousands. By the way, sign the contract. Let's sign the contract quickly, brothers. I want carbon fiber material with T1100 performance. Guanwei Fishing Gear is a high-quality partner. Yuan Hao naturally follows the flow of kindness. The carbon fiber material with T1100 specifications has a unit price of 10,000 yuan per kilogram. Seagate toys naturally make another big profit. The new book set sale, Seeking Flowers, Tickets, and Collections. Chapter 5. Secretaries doing things, doing nothing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next 2 weeks. Guanwei Fishing Gear has fully utilized its subjective initiative. Launched the unique T1100 carbon fiber specification in the market, the luxury fishing rod brand Shiwei. The pricing has gone straight up to 30,000 yuan. But among the fishermen, there are crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Some people are not short of money. A top luxury fishing rod has emerged in the market, naturally attracting the attention of some anglers. For example, Deng Gang, a fishing anchor with millions of fans across the entire network. Family members, that giant green in this reservoir is a real cow. I'm afraid it's already over 150 pounds. Last time, my battle green pole was broken by it. This time, I made a comeback and got a top-notch fishing rod, which cost me 30,000 yuan. Whatever you say, you have to take down this giant green king. For Deng Gang, his annual income is tens of millions or even hundreds of millions. It's not a problem to buy a 30,000 yuan fishing rod. The buddies in the live broadcast room suddenly exclaimed in surprise. A fishing rod made of gold. It costs 30,000 yuan. Hee, if this pole is pulled off by the giant green king again, it will be a lot of fun. Guanwei's official account enters the live broadcast room and presents the host with a carnival. Oh. It's Guanwei's fishing rod. Guanwei's rod is good, but if you want to catch this giant green king weighing over 150 pounds, you may still have doubts. The questioning in the live broadcast room ultimately turned into a dense barrage of floating screen bullets when Deng Gang successfully pulled out the giant green king. Cowhide crass. I don't love learning in my life, I only know how to lie down. What a small knife pulling a swallow today, I've opened my eyes. Is Guanwei's pole hanging like this? The giant green king weighed 180 pounds, which is rare in the country. Deng Gang was extremely excited. Family members. Whether to say it or not, you get what you pay for. Although Guanwei's Shiwei giant pole is expensive, it is really worth it. The news that Deng Gang caught the super giant green king with Guanwei's Shiwei luxury fishing rod series quickly spread in the fishing circle. In addition, Guanwei doesn't know what kind of illness he has committed. A fishing rod of the same quality as before will be halved in price and directly discounted by 50%. So, quickly capture market share. Beat up competitors such as Modiga Fishing Gear, Pacific Fishing Gear, and Fishing King Company to the point of no retaliation. Chen Chu raised his eyebrows and exhaled all at once. Stand up. The whole person can be said to have reached the pinnacle of life. In the office. Chen Chu sat on the boss's chair with a Cuban cigar in his mouth, his legs crossed. In the past month, Chen Chu has been very proud. The charming little secretary twisted her buttocks and walked into the office. The little secretary is holding a stack of market report materials in her hand. The little face of Shueling was overjoyed. Sweet and greasy mouth opening. Mr. Chen, good news. Take a look at this market analysis report. In the past month, our Guanwei market share has increased by 40 percentage points. What Diga Fishing Gear, Pacific Fishing Gear, and Fishing King Company. Their market share has all plummeted. In no time, Guanwei will become the leading player in the fishing gear industry. Upon hearing this, Chen Chu only felt comfortable all over. I couldn't help but burst out laughing proudly. That's for sure. Other fishing gear companies' high-end fishing rods must import carbon cloth from Sakura Little Day. And for products of the same grade, the cost is only a quarter of theirs. The selling price is only half. What are they fighting me with? Before I could exert any force, they had already collapsed. He 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 he. Little beauty, come over and report to me carefully. I didn't hear you clearly just now. Chen Chu waved his hand. As the saying goes, if you have something to do, a secretary will do it. Chen Chu, feeling proud of his horse's hooves, suddenly felt a strong desire to whip his horse. The petite little secretary glanced at Chen Chu and then posted it up. Kyoto. Longguo Academy of Sciences. In a material analysis laboratory. The laboratory, which is sparsely populated on weekdays, has gathered many people today. There is a researcher wearing a white coat. There are military leaders wearing military uniforms. There are also personnel wearing Zhongshan suits from other departments such as the National Defense Science and Technology Commission and the Ministry of Industry of Longguo. Yang Wei, the chief designer of the fifth-generation stealth fighter jet from Rongfei Research and Design Institute, first spoke up. Son, you have called so many of us here and said there is a huge breakthrough. What exactly is it? Don't keep it a secret, tell me quickly. We are all very curious in our hearts, as if scratching cats. Sun Yinzhang's expression is very mysterious. Although he is already old and frail, his body remains strong and his white hair is neatly and stylishly combed. Upon hearing Yang Wei's words, he immediately burst into laughter, sounding full of confidence. Okay, then I'll just say it straight. I have a vision for the carbon fiber material of the fifth-generation fighter jet. As soon as I said this, there was a cry of surprise. What? Has the Academy of Sciences broken through the technical difficulties of carbon fiber materials? Major General Qin Yuejin is still wearing formal military uniforms and has many military merit medals on his chest. He is the person in charge of leading the development of the fifth-generation stealth fighter. Basically, Qin Yuejin is required to attend meetings on the fifth generation of machines. Upon hearing Sun Lao's words, his eyebrows lit up with joy. Grasping Sun Yinzhang's shoulder with both hands, shaking excitedly. Son, you truly deserve to be a national treasure. Carbon fiber composite materials have overcome difficulties, but they have solved a major challenge for fifth-generation machines. With this breakthrough, the development of our fifth-generation machines has taken a big step forward. The leader surnamed Zhou from the Ministry of Commerce next to him also agreed. That's right, this is a big joy. You don't know, those cherry blossom devils are really despicable. Even with a strange and sinister attitude, they say that we won't be able to develop the fifth-generation fighter jet in another 100 years. Let's not have big dreams of spring and autumn anymore. TMD. He's just a running dog of the bald eagle. Although Qin Yuejin's attempt to import carbon fiber from Dongli failed last time, in despair, the Dragon Kingdom made several more attempts. It is obvious that the leader surnamed Zhou has also suffered from exhaustion. The new book sets sail, seeking flowers, tickets, and collections. Chapter 6 Masters. Overcoming difficulties with a fishing rod. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Director Zhao of the Ministry of Industry also nodded and said. Son, you have developed high-strength carbon fiber materials, and we dragon people have raised our heads. I can raise my eyebrows and exhale in front of the bald eagle and cherry blossoms. Everyone was overjoyed, and the scene suddenly became a bit tumultuous. There's no way. Carbon fiber composite materials are a crucial component in the production of fifth-generation fighter jets. The material of the entire fifth-generation aircraft body is 20% to 30%, which is high-strength carbon fiber. Unfortunately, Dragon Kingdom does not have the ability to produce this material. The original plan of the military and Rongfei Design Institute was to import. But there are not many countries that can produce high-strength carbon fiber materials, and the entire Blue Star is also limited. You can only choose cherry blossoms or bald eagles. Of course, the bald eagle cannot sell this strategic material to the Dragon Kingdom. No matter how much money is given, it won't be sold. The final choice is only Sakura Country. Who knew that Sakura Country was also a lowly person? They didn't make any money by giving it to their doorstep for nothing, even if they offered several times the price, they wouldn't sell it. And he also mocked the Dragon Kingdom, determined to be the lackey of the bald eagle. This can make the big shots of the Dragon Kingdom participating in the 5th-generation fighter plan itch with anger. Now that I heard that Academician Sun has made a breakthrough in the field of carbon fiber composite materials, I suddenly raised my head one by one, and my nostrils wished to look up into the sky. Sun Yunzhang, who was over 70 years old, had wrinkles all over his old face and even blushed a bit for a moment. He quickly explained. No, you misunderstood. It's not that the Academy of Sciences has made a breakthrough in research and development. Harmful. Anyway, let's take a look at this analysis report first. Sun Yunzhang waved his hand and the master's researchers in the laboratory, who had been working hard, were given a report material. Leaders from various departments should immediately read carefully. The more you look, the more joyful your face becomes. The data report of this material cannot be fake, can it? The tensile strength has reached 4.9 GPa. You should know that Sakura's T300 carbon fiber has a tensile strength of only 3.53 GPa. Sun, to be honest, what exactly is this experimental material and where did it come from? The big shots who received the information couldn't help but shout out. Some of these people are not technical workers, but are responsible for supporting the development of the 5th-generation fighter jet. I may not understand the advanced data, but I still know the most important tensile strength of carbon fiber composite materials. The data on the testing report surprisingly shows that the performance of T300 carbon fiber from Sakura Country is 38.8% higher than that of Sakura Country. Can this not make people excited? Major General Qin Yuejin's fingers were trembling. The F-22 of the Bald Eagle, an early version of the body composite material, used T300 carbon fiber. Isn't that to say, our 5th-generation machines are even stronger than F-22 in terms of materials? Yang Wei from Rongfei Research and Design Institute can no longer sit still. Directly shaking off the testing report in his hand, he blew his beard and glared at Academician Sun Yunzhang. Sun Lao. Don't make any fuss about it. Quickly tell me how this material was obtained. Isn't it just a tiny bit of testing material that cannot be mass-produced? Major General Qin Yuejin suddenly took a cold breath and said in disappointment. Isn't it our covert front, brought from underground channels? Preparing to have the Academy of Sciences conduct reverse research and development. I'm afraid this is not a task that can be completed in a short period of time. Son, your test report is just a little psychological comfort for us. There are too many places where the Dragon Kingdom has been choked by the Western world. Qin Yuejin was preconceived and unwilling to hold on to too much hope. Now Sun Yunzhang was unwilling and his crutch was heavily pounded, making a loud chug sound. The old man exclaimed angrily. What nonsense! Let me tell you, if nothing unexpected happens to this material, we have plenty. It's our own thing in the Dragon Kingdom. And it's already in mass production. Academician Sun Yunzhang's words attracted all the attention of the room. The old man slowly said. Speaking of which, it was purely a coincidence that I was able to discover this material. Judging from this posture, Sun Yunzhang is ready to start telling a story. Although other big shots are so anxious that they scratch their ears and cheeks, they dare not urge them. Sun Yunzhang saw everyone eagerly waiting for the following text and let out a satisfied cough. I believe most of you know. I don't have any other hobbies as an old man. In my leisure time, my only hobby is fishing. He has been a fisherman for decades. Some of my students, disciples and grandchildren, often give fishing rods as gifts. Just recently, I received a high-end fishing rod. Old man, I didn't have any requirements for fishing rods originally. After all, I'm getting older and can't go fishing for huge objects. There used to be an old fishing rod that has been in use for 4 or 5 years and has never been willing to be replaced. The student kindly gave me a fishing rod as a gift, and I naturally accepted it. Guess what happened? Other big shots can only join in and help Sun Lao sing a comedy. What's going on? Sun Yunzhang gave a heavy crutch and his old face wrinkled with laughter. On the outer packaging of the fishing rod, it actually says T800 carbon fiber rod body. Old man, that's what I do, so I can't miss this opportunity. I stopped fishing directly and immediately returned to the materials laboratory. The fishing rod pouted and I started conducting analysis and testing. This is the testing report in your hands. At this point, academician Sun let out a sigh of satisfaction. But others couldn't be happy. Old Zhou from the Ministry of Commerce, looking disappointed, shook his head. Mr. Sun, you. It's not that I dismantled your platform. How could such a serious problem be solved with just one fishing rod? I am also a pure fisherman. But most of our high-end fishing rods in China are made of imported carbon fiber materials. The fishing rod you tested might be carbon fiber imported from cherry blossoms. Things like fishing rods may not be as tightly sealed off by Sakura Little Day, but it's not feasible to obtain enough to manufacture fighter jets. The new book set sail, seeking flowers, tickets, and collections. Chapter 7. What? Do you still have a T1100 fishing rod? You are listening at novelfull.audio. The questioning raised by Lao Zhou is also the voice of others. Unexpectedly, Sun Yunzhang was still with the old god present, laughing proudly. Xiao Zhou, can I not consider what you have considered? I also suspect that the fishing rod is made of imported materials. But on the packaging box, it clearly states that it is completely domestically produced by Dragon Country. Of course, it's not uncommon for unscrupulous merchants to engage in false advertising, so I specifically called over the students who deliver fishing rods to investigate. My student said, it's indeed a domestically produced fishing rod. Mainly the same material, compared to imported fishing rods of the same type, the price of this fishing rod is less than half. Think about it, if it weren't for self-produced underwear at such a cheap price, the manufacturer would definitely have lost all their underwear. Qin Yuejin still couldn't believe it. Although that's the case, based solely on your old student's one-sided words, I really can't be certain. We need to have the relevant departments conduct a thorough investigation. It's best to bring the fishing rod manufacturer over and confront them face-to-face. Speaking of which, Qin Yuejin slapped his thigh. The development of the 5th-generation stealth fighter is such an important matter, of course, we cannot wait. What about comrades from the Security Bureau? Send someone immediately to take that thing. Qin Yuejin lowered his head and looked at the notes on the testing report, Guanwei fishing gear. Bring over the person in charge of Guanwei fishing gear. Hurry up. This is an important figure related to national defense, and we cannot neglect it at all. Guanwei Fishing Gear Headquarters. Chen Chu in the office is preparing to send out a secretary. Bang! The door was suddenly forcefully pushed open. A few sturdy young men wearing Zhongshan suits and grooming their small flat heads walked in. These few people looked sharply at Chen Chu. Are you Chen Chu, chairman of Guanwei? We are personnel from relevant departments, inviting Mr. Chen to discuss some matters. Chen Chu was immediately frightened and softened. Looking at these tough young men, I immediately felt that things were not simple. People in the business department don't have such a compelling spirit. Hurriedly stuttered, that. Little comrade. Can you tell me what exactly I did? I, Chen Chu, have been a law-abiding citizen from childhood to adulthood. When I see an old lady on the street, I always help her cross the street. I absolutely haven't done anything illegal or disorderly. Heaven and earth have a conscience. Chen Tsuzue is still quite tough. A few young men don't talk nonsense to Chen Chu at all. After confirming that it is myself, immediately invited Chen Chu into a military brand black commercial vehicle. I ran away without a trace. Soon, comrades from the Security Bureau took Chen Chu to the Longguo Academy of Sciences. Then enter a large conference room. Guanwei Chairman Chen Chu obediently followed while confessing. Really, I haven't evaded taxes either. At most, it means falsely labeling domestic products as imported ones. But this is also an unavoidable thing. Now, as citizens of Longguo, we lack confidence and cannot trust domestic products. I labeled domestically produced fishing rods of the same specifications, which were sold at a low price and had poor sales. But it's marked as imported. Hey. Guess what? As long as the selling price is lower than that of its peers, then sales are skyrocketing. Indeed, it involves false advertising, but it shouldn't be caught directly, should it? Is that right, little comrade? These young men from the National Security Bureau, being forced by Chen Tsudao, have no light in their eyes. Seeing a room full of leaders, I quickly saluted and reported. Report to the leader. We have brought Chen Chu, the CEO of Guanwei Fishing Gear, please give us instructions. Chen Chu looked at the big shot in the conference room and was so scared that he closed his mouth. The world is finally clean. The young men from the Security Bureau breathed a sigh of relief. Qin Yuejin and other big shots stared at Chen Chu with dozens of pairs of eyes. This middle-aged man has a bit of a Mediterranean on his head, his eyes wandering around, appearing somewhat panicked. Sun Yunzhang quickly stepped forward, grasping Chen Chu's hand and passionately shaking it. Mr. Chen, if you take the liberty, please bear with me a lot. Chen Chu looked at this passionate old man and was almost crying. He said with a mournful expression. I have already recruited. We've all recruited. Besides false advertising, the most common thing is to pass off inferior products as good ones. Is it necessary to mobilize troops and arrest me? Besides, our fishing rods are distributed to distributors and then restocked by some fishing gear stores. How could those fishing gear stores deceive customers? I really don't know. This doesn't count all the blame on me either. I am truly unjustified. Chen Chu's legs were trembling. Looking around at these unfamiliar precision instruments, it feels like entering some kind of evil research center, ready to succumb to temptation. Not to mention Sun Yunzhang, the crowd of onlookers are all confused. What is the situation? Major General Qin Yuejin frowned slightly and asked. What's going on? What is using inferior products as a substitute? Is your fishing rod a counterfeit product? Chen Chu looked at the stars on Qin Yuejin's shoulder badge, almost scared to pee, and quickly shouted. This is really not bad for me. It's the person from the fishing gear store who sold the T800 material fishing rod to you for the price of the T1100 fishing rod. They were the ones who counterfeited inferior products and randomly increased prices, not me. I'm just an innocent factory owner. Please spare me. How about this? I'll give you 10 more. No, 100 T1100 fishing rods. Please let me go. I have seniors and juniors on top of me. Chen Chu had a runny nose and tears. If it weren't for someone around him supporting him, he would probably have collapsed. Sun Yunzhang and the leaders of various departments are all foolish. I was so shocked that I couldn't speak. What? Not only T800 fishing rods. Is this Guanwei fishing gear equipped with T1100 grade carbon fiber fishing rods? All the big shots are already numb. Is what Chen Chu said really human talk? The new book set sail, seeking flowers, tickets, and collections. Chapter 8, Stand Up For Me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The big shots in the materials laboratory are all confused. The brain melon seeds are buzzing. This Guangwei boss is so scared that people are trembling. It seems that they dare not lie. So tell the truth. They actually have T1100 strength carbon fiber fishing rods. It's like a dream. Not right. I dare not even dream of doing this. Major General Qin Yuejin exhaled heavily through his nostrils and grabbed Chen Chu's collar, eagerly saying. Is the carbon fiber material used in your company's production of fishing rods imported from overseas? A general grabs himself. How dare Chen Chu tell a lie? No, no. If we import carbon fiber, our factory price will have to be compensated to death. Qin Yuejin immediately put on a flattering smile. Quickly released the grip on Chen Chu's neck and carefully tidied up his collar. Then he glared at the two people who were watching Chen Chu. What's going on between you two little comrades? Hurry up and move a stool for Mr. Chen. Let Mr. Chen, such a big boss, stand. Is it suitable? Two young soldiers were inexplicably scolded by the leader and quickly went to bring Chen Chu a chair. Chen Chu sat down in battle. Qin Yuejin coughed lightly, afraid that Chen Chu might have something wrong with him, so he decided to go straight to the point. Boss Chen. We're looking for you. Maybe the means are a bit too extreme, but there's absolutely no malice. Actually, our military wants to cooperate with you. As long as your Guangwei fishing gear can provide high-strength carbon fiber materials for the Air Force, the benefits will definitely be indispensable. You also know that our dragon country is related to national defense and has always been financially abundant. The price given will definitely satisfy Mr. Chen. How about, are you interested in transforming from a private enterprise to a military industry enterprise? Qin Yuejin threw an olive branch and reached out a hand to wait for Chen Chu's handshake. At this moment, Chen Chu finally regained his composure. Upon hearing this, could there be such a good thing? Who doesn't want to make progress? Immediately, he grabbed Qin Yuejin's palm with both hands and shook it excitedly. Okay. Guangwei Fishing Gear is very willing to become a military industry enterprise. Thank you very much for the leader's trust and cultivation. So what? Are you looking for high-strength carbon fiber materials? This is easy to handle. I'll call my supplier and place an order, asking them to provide T1100 high-strength carbon fiber with enough pipes. Qin Yuejin frowned. Wait. What are you saying? You cannot produce this T1100 carbon fiber. Did you get it from the supplier? Chen Chu was a bit confused and nodded. That's right. The carbon cloth we use to produce high-end fishing rods is all purchased from Seagate. Qin Yuejin stared at Chen Chu. I feel like I've been fooled. Boss Chen, you're young, what chair are you sitting on? Get up. Let Academician Sun sit down. Chen Chu, who was in a daze, quickly stood up and offered his seat to Sun Lao, who was covered in silver hair. Sun Yunzhang shook his head and scolded Qin Yuejin. Shao Qin, you are already a general, why are you so restless? Qin Yuejin felt a bit embarrassed, scratched his head, and said to the staff beside him. Go check the details of this supplier's Seagate. Don't make any mistakes this time. Make sure to investigate the true source of carbon fiber raw materials for Guangwei fishing rods before reporting again. The members of the Security Bureau who brought Chen Chu over also blushed a bit and quickly agreed. Seagate Toy Factory. The newly launched carbon fiber production line is running smoothly. The production capacity of various specifications of carbon fiber materials has been greatly improved. The estimated annual production capacity is around 5000 to 6000 tons. The main funding is only 1000 W. The production line built can only be considered medium-sized at best, not large at all. According to Yuan Hao's estimation. To build a large-scale production line with an annual production capacity of tens of thousands of tons, it would require at least a few hundred million yuan. Don't panic. Anyway, on the vacant land next to it, 5 or 6 large factories are under construction. Build 2 truly large-scale production lines then. Anyway, high-performance carbon fiber really doesn't worry about sales. Like Guanwei fishing gear, it is just a small branch of the application of carbon fiber materials. In fact, carbon fiber materials have a wide range of applications, such as high-end bicycles, luxury sports cars, and so on. Don't worry about buyers at all. Especially fully domestically produced, with lower prices and stronger performance, it is sure to quickly capture the market. Should we be able to repay the money then? Yuan Hao stretched lazily. In the past 2 months of taking over Seagate toy factory, almost all the money earned has been invested in upgrading the factory. At present, the factory is still in a state of debt. Yuan Hao personally borrowed 1,500 W and has not yet repaid it. Being in debt is not scary. The good news is that Seagate toy factory is gradually getting back on track. Yuan Hao was accompanied by General Manager Gao Shichuan, R&D Director Dai Jichen, and the 3 of them patrolling the factory building. While walking, the senior scholar group introduces. This factory mainly produces electric cars, remote-controlled airplanes, and other electric toys. The parts for the entire production line are mostly provided by Seagate ourselves. This is the shell molding, cheap goods use plastic, and high-end goods use fiberglass. At this point, the senior scholars burst into laughter. In the future, carbon fiber shells can also be used. The shell to be formed next will undergo the painting process. Yuan Hao casually took a nearby paint document. You have watched the data of ordinary paint materials and learned about metamaterial coating technology. What? Yuan Hao looked bewildered. The new book sets sail, seeking flowers, tickets, and collections. Chapter 9. Even if you break A6, come out and pick up girls. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After inspecting our own workshop, we have come to understand new technologies. Yuan Hao had no idea about the use of metamaterial coatings for the time being. Continue to visit the manufacturing workshop. Gao Shichuan pointed to the subsequent operation console. After shaping and painting the shell, assembly begins afterwards. For remote-controlled small helicopters like this, the terminal retail price is only 1 or 200 yuan, so the parts are all produced by ourselves. Small motors and simple servos are not expensive. Yuan Hao casually picked up a stack of design blueprints for remote-controlled small airplanes. A small gadget worth 1 or 200 yuan is naturally not very complicated. Flipped 2 pages. You have reviewed the blueprint of the toy helicopter and come to understand the advanced quadcopter drone. You continue to watch the blueprint of the toy helicopter and understand the drone swarm technology. Yuan Hao shook his head and put down the blueprint of the toy helicopter. After the large-scale carbon fiber production line is built, it is possible to consider producing quadcopter drones. After all, remote-controlled helicopters like those produced now have outdated technology and a market price of only 1 or 200 yuan. But quadcopter drones are advanced drones. Even the simplest model can sell for hundreds. Even selling for thousands or even tens of thousands is not uncommon. This thing's much more profitable than a toy airplane. Worth a try. Yuan Hao lifted his eyes and looked around. This large workshop is mainly for survival electric remote control toys. Toy car. Toy helicopter. This type of electric toy was also the mainstream product of Seagate Toy Factory before. Now that Yuan Hao has taken over the factory, he is starting to upgrade and replace it. Uncle Gao, electric toys were considered profitable products in the toy industry 10 years ago. But now, children have higher horizons. Peers are also engaged in price wars with each other. A small electric airplane, currently only selling for over 100 yuan, has no future. I am preparing to upgrade and upgrade. Let's develop quadcopter drones in the future. Before Gao Shichuan could speak, Dai Jiqing opened his mouth. This. Mr. Yuan, this matter may not be easy to handle. High-end quadcopter drones, that's not a toy anymore. We don't have the necessary technological reserves. The engineers responsible for producing electric toys don't have the technology in the field of quadcopter drones. Yuan Hao waved his hand and said nonchalantly. It's okay. For rotor drone R&D personnel, Uncle Dai, just recruit a batch. Don't worry about funding. Once the large-scale carbon fiber production line is put into operation, we will definitely not lack money. And Uncle Gao. Let's build one of the newly built factories into a quadcopter drone production line. First, gather information on what specific equipment is needed. Once the R&D personnel are recruited, we will start building the production line. Dai Jiqing and Gao Shichuan opened their mouths but did not refute. Yuan Hao revived the operation of a toy factory that was on the brink of bankruptcy. Everything is developing in a positive direction. They are starting to dare not question Yuan Hao's decision. Yuan Hao suddenly remembered something. By the way, the university is about to start. Uncle Gao, please take a look at the factory first. I need to report to the school. Just call if you have anything to do. Kyoto University of Technology. Yuan Hao drove the old A6 that Yuan Deng had eliminated, slowly entering the campus. Buzz, the phone vibrated twice and received a message. No need to look, Yuan Hao knows who it is. Unconsciously, the expression on his face felt a bit awkward, and he picked up his phone and replied with a friendly tone. I have already arrived at the campus. I'll go find you right away. Yuan Hao's typing expression was very cautious. There's no way. Who makes someone a creditor? Yuan Hao's start-up capital of 1500 W is borrowed from others. As the saying goes, holding hands is short. If you take someone else's money, at the very least, you have to show your attitude. The old A6 has arrived at the Welcome News office. Stopping by the roadside, Yuan Hao recognized his creditor at a glance. It's so eye-catching, so easy to recognize. The welcoming office is crowded with people, including parents and students, at least several hundred people. But under a paulownia tree, there is a beautiful and dazzling figure. She has a slender figure, fair skin, and a delicate face made of polished jade. She is wearing a moon-white floral dress, and the sunlight shining through the gaps in the leaves shines brightly on her. Especially wearing big sunglasses, it looks cool and cool. A stranger's face is forbidden, but one's appearance and immortality are not acceptable. Despite not wearing any makeup, her appearance still outshines all the girls present with exquisite makeup. This kind of girl, of course, is incredibly eye-catching. Looking around, whether it's a new student or an old student, whether it's a boy or a girl, their eyes are intentionally or unintentionally glancing at her. There's no way. It's really beautiful. Yuan Hao shook his head vigorously, rubbed his face, and manually put on a smile. To treat one's own creditors, one should still show sufficient attitude. Open the car door and greet with a smile. Lu Xiener. When Lu Xiener saw Yuan Hao, she immediately smiled like a flower, making the boys who were secretly following him suffocate. She covered her skirt and ran over with a clattering sound. Yuan Hao extended his hand to support Lu Xiener's shoulder, feeling that if he didn't stop her, she would have to rush into her arms. How can this work? Lu Xiener took off her sunglasses, with the mirror legs pinned to her collar, tilted her head, and a smile in her eyes. Hauga, you're here. Help me move my luggage and bedding to the girls' dormitory, I can't move them. Yuan Hao nodded and put Lu Xiener's personal belongings under the Fa Tong tree back in the trunk. At this moment, amidst the deep roar of the V10 engine, a Lamborghini calf came to a stop. A boy with eyebrows trimmed and earrings, who thought he was very handsome, crawled out and rested his arms on the roof of the car. Let me introduce myself. My name is Zhuozhua, and everyone I know calls me Zhuo Shao. Don't be deceived, beautiful woman. This type of breaking through A6 is very likely to be installing the second-generation wealthy. Specially deceiving you, a pure and inexperienced newcomer. Then he looked at Yuan Hao again and sneered. No, classmate. Just your old model is a broken A6, a used car worth 50 to 60,000 yuan. Just come out here to pick girls. The new book set sail, seeking flowers, tickets, and collections. Why didn't there be a face-to-face competition in Chapter 10? You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Lu Xiener didn't even glance at that excellence. This excellence is a bit annoying. She rubbed her small sandals under her feet and hid behind Yuan Hao. Seeing a beautiful woman with excellence, he naturally poured his anger on Yuan Hao. Yuan Hao lifted his eyelids and glanced at Zhuo. Then moved Lu Xiener's Louis Vuitton travel suitcase into the trunk. Directly ignore. Zhuo was so angry that his veins were bulging on his forehead, his face was gloomy, and his tone was also raised a few degrees. Hello. Talking to your kid. Don't you have long ears? Open a broken A6, don't pretend to be a big-tail wolf, get out of here quickly. Are you also assigned to Runli for junior students? Can't you figure out your own strength? Many people were already secretly following Lu Xiener, with a loud voice and at least 100 pairs of eyes from the reporting office, all staring at her. The wealthy second-generation driving luxury cars, hunting for beautiful new life. This kind of scene is not surprising anymore. Everyone is curious, what will Yuan Hao do? Yuan Hao sighed. I didn't want to pay attention to this excellence, which made him feel bored, so he naturally left. But he didn't mind the big picture, the more trouble he made, the more ferocious it became. Yuan Hao looked at Zhuo expressionlessly and sincerely asked him. Do you have 1500 W? If you give me 15 million, I'll disappear immediately. Zhuo widened his eyes and doubted his ears. Are you crazy? If you want something worth 8,000, then your brother Zhuo will give it to you. Do you dare to open your mouth and ask for 1500 W? With this money, I can even afford to go with celebrities. Yuan Hao shrugged and spread his hands helplessly, saying. There's no other way. Xiener spent 1500 W, I can only accompany her. Yuan Hao's words made the people around him completely numb. Excellence is also bewildered. What's the point? It's not that Yuan Hao spent 1500 W on Lu Xiener. But Lu Xiener spent 1500 W on him. Is there something wrong? The ears of the melon-eating crowd have become longer and longer. Lu Xiener poked her head out of Yuan Hao's shoulder, proudly bulging her full chest. I gave Haoga 1500 W. So he has to listen to me. By the way, I ask you to give me a gift every time you meet. Where's the gift? Lu Xiener's clear eyes were full of anticipation. Yuan Hao bent down helplessly and took out a plush toy from the co-pilot. Just an ordinary strawberry bear. It's not genuine at all, but a counterfeit from Seagate Toy Factory. But Lu Xiener liked it very much, with moist eyes that seemed to sparkle. Then she took out a delicate watch box from her Hermès shoulder bag and opened the lid. Muttered in his little mouth. Oh, this is a gift I gave you. Do not refuse. Otherwise, I'll tell Uncle Yuan about the 1500 W incident. Yuan Hao didn't originally want to accept it, but as soon as he heard that he wanted to tell Yuan Dang about borrowing money, he immediately dared not refuse. Lu Xiener grabbed Yuan Hao's wrist and put a watch on him. Yuan Hao looked down and didn't know what brand it was. He has little interest in luxury goods such as watches, clothes, bags, etc. Even when I used to be a wealthy second-generation, I just spent money on electronic products when I was just slacking off. Spend tens of thousands to buy a 4090 yuan. It's absolutely impossible to spend tens of thousands on a bag. Assembling a computer can cost over 200,000 yuan. But buying a watch for 200,000 yuan doesn't make any sense. There are no necklaces, rings, watches or other decorations on Yuan Hao's body. The watch that Lu Xiener put on him belongs to the first one. Yuan Hao lowered his head and glanced twice. Not bad either. Silver white dial. It looks ordinary. It seems quite low. Key. Lu Xiener offered to give a gift, it would cost several 100,000 yuan. It's okay, when you repay the money in the future, just add some interest to her. Zhuiyue rubbed his hands and pondered in his heart, and now he must angrily accuse Yuan Hao of lacking backbone. Dog thing, soft rice man. A waste that relies on women to care for. A shameless thing. He has already made a draft in his mind. But after seeing the watch that Lu Xiener gave to Yuan Hao, he didn't say anything. Go straight into Lamborghini at the fastest speed and hit the gas pedal and run away. Yuan Hao was a bit puzzled. Why didn't this wealthy second generation participate in the costume comparison and facial recognition process? Lu Xiener was holding the strawberry bear, extremely rare, and her heart was so beautiful that it frothed. Who knows then? At the entrance of Seagate toy factory. Crunching, 3 black full-size SUVs, braking with one foot, were stuck outside the door. 3 small flatheads wearing white shirts, black suits, and earphones got off the car from the beginning. On the back 2 cars, there are 8 fully armed camouflage soldiers. With a slight charge on their shoulders and a bright and lively gaze, they all looked like elite soldiers in the army. Originally, only comrades from the National Security Bureau came. But because of Qin Yuejin felt a bit uneasy about their ability to handle things. So we sent 8 soldiers from our own security team. I shouldn't have gotten the wrong person now. Seagate guard, an old man who didn't even button up his security uniform, was suddenly scared out of his wits. Hart said that a small toy factory, why did they even bring in the special forces from movies? What are the angry and resentful things that De Yuan and Xiao Yuan have done? It shouldn't be. Shouldn't even killing or setting fire. That's also the police coming. Did you become a spy for the bald eagle? The national security personnel flashed their documents in front of the old man. Comrade, we are of national security. I need to find the person in charge of your factory. Could you please open the door? What kind of national security does the gatekeeper know? But the micro-charge carried by those soldiers is not fake. I dare not ask. Busily opening the door, I watched the group enter the factory area. The old man quickly contacted the leader above through the walkie-talkie. Speaking with gestures, it was not easy to explain clearly. In the office building, General Manager Gao Shichuan stumbled several times and stumbled out. The national security personnel once again presented their documents with a serious expression and said, "Comrade, are you the person in charge of Seagate Toy Factory?" Gao Shichuan looked at this posture, National Security Bureau. Gun-wielding warrior. My legs are all weak from fear. Directly sold Yuan Hao. No. I'm not. Don't talk nonsense. Yuan Hao is the one. The new book set sail, seeking flowers, tickets, and collections.